I love the 7-Eleven in Thailand. It's the best.
Welcome back to the Rangeless Travel Podcast. We're your favorite adventure travel hosts. I'm Britt, and this is Ryan. Together, we travel the world by plane, train, and 89 Ford Sportsmobile, capturing the beauty, adventure, and culture in every corner of the globe. Currently, we're traveling the U.S. in an old van with our two dogs, Layla and Cedar. Every Tuesday, we share stories and tips to inspire you to book that next trip. So go ahead and don't be shy. Follow along with us at Rangeless_ on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Let's dive in. Welcome back to this episode of the Rangeless Travel Podcast. This is your ultimate guide to Bangkok, Thailand. So if you have a trip coming up to Bangkok or it's your dream to visit Bangkok, you're not going to want to go before watching this video. We're going to share with you where you should stay, how you're going to get around, and some things that we think you just shouldn't miss when you're in Bangkok, because it can be quite overwhelming. Bangkok is known for vibrant nightlife and temples and culture and food and so much more. And when you go to plan your trip, all of that can be quite overwhelming. Mm-hmm. If you follow along with our podcast and you watch some of our other guides, you know I like to start with a little bit of history. Bangkok has a vibrant history and a long history, but it's actually not as old as I really thought it was. So Bangkok, for kind of what we know the area of Bangkok is today, was founded as a trading village in the 15th century. So that's the 1400s. In my mind, I thought Bangkok was like
so much older.
Thousands of years old, which I do think that there is a history of people being in that area for a really long time. But as far as it being like
the capital.
Well, it wasn't even the capital at that
Right.
point. It's been the capital under different names multiple times. It's been multiple different cities, the area that is now Bangkok. But I mean, like, when we first start getting the vibes of like what it would become would be like the 15th century.
Okay.
Then, you know, moving forward in time, we can thank the 1980s for a huge economic boom, which led to the honest explosion in the 1990s, building Bangkok into like this super modern city that we see today. It covers over 600 square feet or over 1,500 square kilometers.
Yeah,
which is
600
huge.
square miles, yeah.
Yeah, 600 square miles and 1,500 square kilometers, which is freaking huge. So when you go to be like, oh, I'm going to go visit, how long do I stay for? You're like, how long do I stay for?
Yeah.
It's huge. How long do I stay for? So when I feel like so torn when I was like thinking about how long do I tell people to stay for. So I went online and like looked at some Pinterest and some other blogs, and they were pretty much everyone was saying like stay 4 days, stay 4 days, stay 4 days.
Really? I don't think that does it enough justice.
I don't think it does it any justice, but I don't disagree with them, because if you're thinking about it, like a lot of people are traveling for what? They're going to be in Thailand for 2 weeks, they're going to be in Thailand for a month. So like how you don't want to, Thailand's a huge beautiful country. You don't want to spend the whole time in one city, right? Because there's so much ground to cover, because it's a big country.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't disagree with them. But as someone who's probably like, I was trying to add up in my mind, like how much time have I spent in Thailand? Like not consecutively, like in general. And I think I've spent about 6 months in Bangkok, just in Bangkok.
Okay.
Of my whole life. So like, I love Bangkok. And I remember Bangkok was the first city I ever got to in Southeast Asia. Is where I like first touched down. It was like my gateway into Southeast Asia, which it is for many people, travelers, many backpackers, you know. And I remember when I was just looking to go, and like anyone who I know who was a backpacker or a traveler and had been there before, they were like, oh, just land in Bangkok and leave. Like do a day of the temples and then get out of the city. Like and like that's so much injustice to the city. Like do not just land in Bangkok and like write it off and leave.
No, absolutely not.
4 days I would say would be the minimum to start to get to even get like a feeling of the city, because I've been like back to Bangkok so many times. I really like to use Bangkok as like my hub. Yeah. Because it is such a hub. Like it's such a flight hub. So when you're going to different places, it's so Easy.
Yeah, and especially like if you need to get some supplies or something, like
So
things that are
easy.
not easy to get in other places, it's gonna be in Bangkok.
It's gonna be in
They're gonna
Bangkok.
there.
It's. I find it a really comfortable place to be. I find it like very safe feeling. I find it gives me like a sense of the home. You know, I just find myself really comfortable in Bangkok. So, as someone who loves Bangkok and has spent so many times there, every time I go back, I try to stay in like a different piece of the city.
A different neighborhood or
yeah,
different
a different
area,
neighborhood, a different accommodation, a different area, and like every single time I've gone back, it has felt like a completely different city.
Yeah, you did different vibes.
It's a completely different. So it's so vast. So I would say if you're going, plan to stay a minimum of 4 days. If you can stretch it a little longer, go for it. If you can't, it's okay. It's okay. Because there's a lot of public transport. So even if you're only there for 4 days or 3 days or 2 days or whatever it is, you're going to be able to get around the city fairly quickly and easily using their public transport. And you're probably going to be able to see a lot more than you had anticipated, and you're going to be exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to have so much fun. So the first way to get around the city, the cheapest way to get around the city, buses.
Yeah.
Which may be the most intimidating way to get around the city.
It definitely was for me.
Me too. And it was the first public transit I ever took in Bangkok when I landed a flight in the airport. And I was like, how do I get there? And Google Maps told me a public bus. And I was like, okay, Google Maps, if you say so. There's different kinds of buses. There's older buses, no AC, very, very hot, especially in like midday or rush hour when they're like jam-packed. But they're going to run you about 6 Thai baht, which is so affordable.
Yeah.
There are also newer buses. And the newer buses have AC, and they're just newer buses. You know, every city you go to, you're going to have older buses and newer buses.
Right.
The newer buses cost a little bit more money. They're going to cost up to about 20 baht. Now, it's also going to depend on like how far you're going. So we've taken the buses together. I've taken the buses separately.
Multiple times, yeah.
Yeah, we use the buses a lot to get around. They're very convenient. And anywhere in the city that
isn't served by other modes of transit,
the buses are going to go there. So the buses are going to go pretty much everywhere. You're going to make sure your Google Maps are downloaded. And you're going to have either, you know, an eSIM, or you're going to just get a SIM card when you land at the airport, or even you're going to get a SIM card when you get to a 7-Eleven. It's going to be the cheapest if you get the SIM card outside of the airport. So if you can swing that, go for it. If not, and you need the SIM card to get your accommodation, then just get the SIM card in the airport. Like, it's not going to cost that much different for the peace of mind. So you're going to get your SIM card. You're going to have your data everywhere. You're going to have Google Maps. You're going to put in where you're going. And then you're going to put in the bus option.
Yeah, public transit.
Public transit option. It's going to tell you like the bus and all the different ways you could get there. And we'll talk about it soon. Our production assistants are barking. So, guys, stop it! After that brief interruption with our production assistants. And then it's going to tell you your bus number or your bus number options. A lot of times there'll be multiple buses
options,
that you will be able to get to. So you're going to walk to the bus stop. This is going to be the hardest part of your entire bus journey, is finding the bus stop. There are signs, but sometimes they're just a little bit confusing because they're in Thai. So you're gonna do your best, and you're gonna stand there and you're gonna wait for your bus. You're gonna look for the number. The bus is gonna come. You're gonna get on the bus. You're gonna sit down or you're gonna stand up, whatever it is. There's going to be a teller. She or he is going to come, and you're going to tell them where you're getting off.
Right.
If you do not know how to pronounce it correctly, have it up on your phone ready for them, point at it.
Yeah.
They're going to say, okay, and then they're going to tell you a number in Thai. They may tell you a number in English. Either way, it's going to be okay, and you're going to hold out your money. If you know how much it costs, then you're going to hold out the correct change. If you don't, it's okay, just hold out what you think they said. They may help you. There may be grandmas on the bus that are going to additionally help you. Like, you're not getting scammed on the public transport on the bus. Like that, they're not scamming you on the bus. You're okay on the bus. They're going to take what they need. They're going to give you your change. So make sure you have some small change when you get on there. And then keep an eye out where you're supposed to get off. I follow along on the maps on my phone, and my phone on Google Maps will tell me when to get off.
Yeah. That's the easiest way to do it.
That's how you do the bus. The buses go everywhere. They're going to be your cheapest way to do them. great. I love them.
They're efficient. They're great. Yeah.
The next way to get around would be
the river.
The river. You can get around in the canals.
Mm-hmm.
We did that.
We did it a lot.
That's my favorite way to get around, might I add, is the canals. I feel like the canals are like, oh, I'm going on a little river cruise.
Yeah, it's nice. It is nice. Especially like being out on the water, there's a little bit more of a breeze too. And it can be really hot. So it's nice to get that little bit of a breeze.
I also think it's nice because you get like a whole different perspective of the city. So like when you're walking around, you're like in it. When you take the canals, which are man-made, by the way, which I think is like mind-boggling. And then also the river. You're getting to view everything from the water, which is very special because like you pass by like markets and you pass by temples and you're like, what's that over there? You pass by malls and it's kind of fun because especially if you're on the river or any of the canals, you can just get on and like kind of hop off.
Yeah.
And then explore a little bit and like hop back on and go down more. It's it's very fun.
It's a nice way of getting around.
Yeah, and again, you can put it into your Google Maps.
Yeah, and it will tell you just the same as the bus. It's like all in there as public transportation, and it will just tell you what stop to get off, what stop to get on, where to go, all of that.
Yeah, that's my favorite way to do it. So I would say when you're in Bangkok in general, take the canals at least one time.
Yeah.
Take the canals one time. You're gonna have a lot of fun. It's slightly confusing, but like you'll pick up on it very quickly. I believe in you. The next way to get around. Tuk-tuks. This is like a transportation / tourist attraction. I like the tuk-tuks. I don't love the tuk-tuks.
Right.
So the tuk-tuks are not metered. They're not metered. So before you get in that tuk-tuk, you need to be firm, not mean, not aggressive, just firm with your tuk-tuk driver, and you need to come to an agreement on how much you're going to pay.
Right.
Wherever it is you're going, make sure you know. You've checked online. Are they open? Are they closed today? What are their hours? Because there's a very common scam with tuk-tuks. Now, I don't want to scare you out of taking a tuk-tuk. If you dream about going to Bangkok and getting in one of the tuk-tuks and like driving down those roads, absolutely do it. Do not let me deter you from that. But use your wits about you. So one of the things they'll do is they'll tell you, oh, that whatever attraction is, whatever the temple is, that's closed.
Right.
It's closed today. There's a holiday. It's a federal holiday. It's closed for maintenance, whatever. They're going to tell you it's closed. And then they're going to try to sell you their tour. And unfortunately, a lot of times that tour doesn't exist and they'll drive you out really far, or they'll drive you like all the way to like a different area of the city, or they drive you out somewhere and now they start demanding money. And the only way to get back to where you're supposed to be is when you pay them the money, and it will be an exuberant number.
Yeah.
It's a very common scam in Bangkok. Not every tuk-tuk driver is going to try to do this to you. I've made friendly with a few tuk-tuk drivers. Most of them are not like that. Most of them are very nice, but it is good to just be aware so that you can prepare.
Yeah.
Which being prepared is just saying, no, I know it's open. That's where I'd like to go. And if they start trying to do that, just be like, you know what? Never mind. I don't need a ride. Thank you anyway. And you just wave down another. There are so many tuk-tuk drivers.
Yeah.
You'll get another tuk-tuk. It's okay. The next way, if you like the idea of like a more private mode of transportation, would be taxis. Taxis are everywhere. They're easy to get. You flag them down. They're metered. I would say taxis are going to be your quickest. It's not going to be your cheapest, but it's going to be your quickest and easiest mode of transportation unless it's rush hour. Because if it is rush hour in Bangkok, Bangkok is a modern city. It is going to be gridlock. Like you're going to be sitting in traffic. So I wouldn't recommend taking the taxis during
rush hour.
Rush hour. It's just not, it's not going to be a pleasant situation.
No.
You're just going to be sitting there and the meter's going to be running. So if you spend any time in a city, you know that that's like not fun to do. During rush hour, I recommend taking one of either the metro or the BTS, which is the SkyTrain. These are going to be air conditioned.
Yes.
They're going to run on schedule, which is 6 a.m. to midnight. During rush hour, some stops will be like every 5 minutes. They will literally be a train like pulling up on every 5-minute mark. There will be a train pulling up. So they're never, like, I mean, they can get pretty packed, but they're not like New York City subways.
Yeah, you're not getting shoved in by like a train conductor.
Yeah, this isn't
to wedge you in like sardines.
Yeah, like in Tokyo. This isn't. It's not it's a very nice experience. Their air conditioning, which is lovely because it gets so hot in Bangkok. To get into that like AC, you're like, oh, wow. And then you're like cold because you've been like sweating so much that all your clothes are down.
And you're like damp and
But the trains are really good to take. So it's the BTS, which is the Sky Train, and then it's the Metro.
MRT,
the MRT, which is the Metro. The Metro and the Sky Train can be described the same as we just did it. And then the Metro has 2 lines. The Metro has 2 lines. And then it connects to the Sky Train. And it's going to bring you a lot with the modern parts of the city. So those newer parts of the city, like when I was talking about that big like expansion that happened and that huge growth that happened in the 1990s, those areas, which we're going to, again, talk about a little bit, that's what's connected with that Sky Train.
Yeah,
and then Metro.
Yeah, they're not so much under the older part of the city.
No, the older part of the cities you're not going to really be able to access with the train system, but all the newer parts of the city, like all the malls and the rooftop restaurants and the bars and things like that, that's going to be accessible through those trains. But do remember, 6 a.m. to midnight. Yeah. So if you're having a wild time in the evening and it's past midnight, get yourself a taxi.
Yeah, and one thing that we actually got caught out with the ferries was they stop at 7 p.m.
Yeah, they stop at 7 p.m.
So we were down in Chinatown, and then we had to get a bus back, which took a lot longer than the ferry would. But it is what it is. We wanted to stay out and enjoy Chinatown. So.
Yeah. So there's always going to be a way home if you like miss a cutoff for one of the transportations, and like if all else fails, Grab, which is like Uber.
Yeah, there's an app on your phone. It's there are scooters that you're going to jump on the back of.
I think you can get a Grab car.
I think you can get a Grab car too, but like the scooters are a lot more fun.
They are. If you're down for an adventure, because you're going to hop on the back of this scooter.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like zipping through. So if it's just you or like you and one other person, they may put you on the same scooter. Or you have to get 2 Grabs.
Or you have to get 2 Grabs.
Whatever you're most comfortable with.
But they're much quicker, especially during traffic, because they can kind of like squeeze between.
They will squeeze between. So if that's something that you don't feel comfortable with, only take the Grab bike. If you are ready for an adventure, if you are like a little scaredy, get a Grab car, get a taxi, get a tuk-tuk.
Yeah.
Don't get the Grab bike.
You don't have to balance on. Yeah, that'd be good.
But they are an experience. So if you want an adventure, I've taken so many Grab scooters in my days. You've taken a handful of Grab scooters.
A few of them, yeah.
And like I've never had a bad experience. It's never been like weird. And it's been like, they're usually men. So it has been like me by myself and like my male driver. I've never had the weird experience. It's always been okay. I have heard other people talk about like how their Grab driver has like touched their leg funny or made them uncomfortable. I've never personally experienced that, but I could see how that could happen, and it does put you in a vulnerable position, particularly like as a woman. And I would suggest, again, like just knowing where you're going. So if you have your maps up, just like being able to
glance at it every now and then.
Yeah, I just hold it. I hold it in my hand. So like my phone, this is the phone case I last went to Asia with, and like I take it and I put it around here so that like it won't fall, and I'll just hold it like this, and I will follow where he's going, so I know he's staying on course. And if like I need to be like, nope, pull over, get off here, I already have everything up. Especially when you're in a city, like at any point you feel uncomfortable, just tell them to pull over, end the ride early, and get another mode of transportation, get in a taxi, get whatever, because you know what, the few dollars you're going to spend is nothing compared to your safety and you're feeling better.
Right.
You know, so do what you're comfortable with. And that's just the precaution I take, and that's what makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's good advice, I think.
Thank you. Now, there's all these ways to get around, but what part of the city do you want to stay in? Because again, with 600 square miles, that's like, where are you going to stay?
Yeah, and there's so many different places, and everything has different things to offer.
Yes. So I would say we're going to go through a few of the places, but there's more than what we're covering today, but we're going to do a big chunk of them. First and foremost, Old City. Yeah. The Old City in a lot of Asian cities is where a lot of tourists stay. Yeah. So the Old City is going to be a mixture of touristy, a little bit of authentic, and a lot of history. If you want to see the temples, the
Grand Palace.
Yeah, the Grand Palace, Wat Pho, which is like the reclining Buddha. That's all in the old city. The old city also tends to have good deals. Like if you're on a budget, you're going to be able to find accommodations for a good price. The downside of being in the old city is you don't have the BTS.
No.
You don't have the metro. You're going to have to, depending on where you are in the old city, you may be by the river, you may not be, but not all of it is connected with the canals. So it's,
You have to use the buses. You have to
you're
figure
gonna have
other
to use
ways
the
of
buses.
getting around.
Yeah, basically you're going to have to use the buses or tuk-tuks or taxis or the grabs. So you can still get around, but it's going to be not on the trains.
No.
Is not going to be on the trains. But if you're looking to go in for a few days and really get to explore the temples, the amulet markets in the old town.
Yeah.
We have like amulets that we got. If you watch our vlog channel, we go there in our vlogs.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
We go there in our. I'm like, did we go there yet?
Not yet.
We may. By the time this goes up, we may have gone there in our vlog. But we do go there, so we go there and get our amulets.
Which is a really cool experience in its own.
It is. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do in the old town without ever leaving and like walking around and taking the river. But what I would do is check when you're doing your accommodation. Try to book one either close to a bus stop or closer to the river in the old town, so it's just easier to be able to hop around and get where you need to go.
Yeah.
Now, the next place I say is technically in the old city, but I think it's like its own.
I think it deserves its own subsection.
And and if you've done any research into
Bangkok,
you've heard of it. Koh Sam Road.
Yeah.
So Koh Sam Road is going to be for solo travelers, backpackers, and anyone who wants to party.
Yeah.
So some of the benefits of this is like there's going to be all those touristy things. Like it's touristy. You're not getting an authentic experience staying on Koh Sam Road.
No.
But you are getting an authentic Koh Sam Road experience. So like you're going to buy liquor by the bucket, because that is a Koh Sam Road thing. You're going to have lots of beers. There's going to be street food. There's going to be tourist shops like all over the place. You can get your elephant pants. Don't worry, your elephants will be there in Koh Sam Road. Late night tattoos, you got them. All the nightclubs, they're there. Yeah. Everyone's there trying to make friends. Everyone there is being social. Everyone there is eating tarantulas off a stick.
Yeah. That's where all
I like how you're like, yeah, they are.
They are. I'm not, but they are.
But they are. Koh Sam Road is where I celebrated my 27th birthday.
Is it?
It is. I got one bucket, and I said, I'm tired now. I'd like to go home.
Time to go to sleep.
Time to go home. But it's fun. The
Yeah.
only downside of Koh Sam Road is it is loud at night. So
Yes.
if you're not trying to partake in the nightlife, Koh Sam Road is probably not your number one spot. And the other downside is it's kind of disconnected from a lot of the public transit. It is in the old town.
Yes.
So like your metro, your BTS are not going there, but the buses go there. So if you feel comfortable with the buses, you'll have no problem.
Yeah, and the one good thing as well is like all the social hostels are going to be there, all of that.
Yeah,
if you're looking to make friends.
Yeah, if you're solo traveling, I think that Koh Sam Road
is the spot to go to.
It's great, yeah. Now, I solo traveled in Bangkok, and I didn't stay on Koh Sam Road when I was solo traveling. I did stay in the Old Town. I stayed by the flower market in the Old Town, which was by the river.
It's near Chinatown.
It is near Chinatown. It's near Chinatown, which is all, we're going to talk about Chinatown in a second, but it was still like in the old town
area. Yeah, okay.
And that was great. And I literally walked in and there was a girl like right around my age and she was like, hey, I'm going to see Wat Pho. Do you want to come? And we walked on down and we went into the temple. It was my first temple. It was my first solo like in Southeast Asia. It was my first day ever in Asia. It was my first like
backpacking friend?
Backpacking friend, because I had done some backpacking trips. No, because I did some backpacking in like Central America and like in Iceland and in Greece, and I'd made some friends. But it was my first Asian one. Yeah, she wasn't Asian, just you know what I mean, like in Asia. So I was like, this is great. So like I had a great experience, and I was outside of Koh Sam Road. So even if you're solo traveling, you don't have to feel like you have to stay in Koh Sam Road, but it definitely makes it. It's definitely a social area, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, another option is Sukhumvit, which is more of like
modern. Like if you're looking for more of a modern thing.
Yes.
Like how we said there was the big expansion in the 1990s.
Right.
That's where we're talking about. This is skyscrapers, malls, like
yeah, you're gonna have your subway connections, all of that.
Not subways, SkyTrain and Metro.
Metro, yeah, not subway, but you know what I mean.
The trains.
The trains.
Yeah, you're going to be super well connected. And that area is known, and it's super modern. So like everything has AC, all the buildings are new. You're in the skyscrapers. It's going to be known for its nightlife. Now this is a little bit more of upscale nightlife than a Koh San Road nightlife. Like we're not doing ping pong shows here. That's for Koh San Road. We are doing like rooftop bars with like infinity pools. That's the area we're in right now. And now we're also doing a lot of restaurants. So there's going to be a lot of nice restaurants. It's not going to be, there's still street food. There's still, night markets. There's still all those things. But it's going to be a little bit more upscale, which means it's going to be a little bit pricier. But you can still find like more budget accommodations. I've stayed in this area before. I stayed there. Where did I stay there? I stayed there. I got an apartment. Oh, I got an Airbnb for like a few days to like hang out, work, get some stuff done. And in this area, it was beautiful, but I learned that the Airbnbs were not allowed in that building.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like in an illegal Airbnb, but it was too late, so.
Oh, they were trying to sneak you in?
They did sneak me in. They put me in a car, drove me in, they picked me up at one of the SkyTrain like stops. Yeah. They were waiting for me with a car. I get into the backseat of the car. They bring me around the back of this like apartment complex building. Like it was like a tall apartment building. Beautiful. Overlooking the canals. Like I loved it. Infinity pool on the roof. Like it was nice. I was splurging. And then drove me into the parking deck, which was like half below the building and then like below ground and like a little above ground. And then put me into a back service elevator. Brought me up the service elevator, and then like through this windy corridor, and then like into my unit. They 1000% snuck me in. And I didn't know until then I left because there was a night market across the street. So I was like, oh, like I'm hungry. Yeah. Like I didn't want to go to the night market, and I had a kitchen, so I wanted to like pick up some fresh fruit and stuff for like in the morning and have some food for that night. And like I get into the elevator and it's like Airbnbs are illegal in this building, and I'm like but I stayed because there was a rooftop pool and I already paid for it.
Yeah.
I just kept to my own. I didn't bother anyone. It was fine. But yeah, so if you're looking for more modern, that's where you're going to want to go, and they're known for their restaurants and their nightlife. A little bit more upscale, a little bit fancier. There's a few other modern.
Yeah, like Siam, around that area. That's going to be like a lot of your shopping. All the malls are going to be around there. It's very much upscale and modern. The malls in that area are so freaking cool. Where is it? There's like a 7-story mall, and like every mall, it's like one of them's like Tokyo, so like all the clothing stores are like Tokyo fashion. Then another floor I think is San Francisco, so like all the stores are like American fashion, and they each have like a different theme. Yeah. And it's really cool. Yeah, the malls there are incredible in Bangkok.
They're cool.
Huge.
We went to a few of the malls, and like I'm not like the biggest mall person.
No, but in Bangkok you want to because it's so hot outside.
You're like, I just need to walk around inside. Like, I want to walk on the
malls
inside.
Are a huge space. You can get your exercise in there if you're doing laps. You can walk around.
We liked it because all the malls have like, it's not like U.S. malls where they have like a little food court, and the food court's like subpar, kind of like greasy, just like junky fast food. They have like good food in the malls, like good food. And then they always have, in like every mall in Bangkok in the city, they always have big bookstores. Mm-hmm. And that's like one of our weaknesses. And one of the things when I travel, because I mean, I don't buy like a lot of souvenirs, but I definitely do like to bring home things. Yeah. And I know books is not the most practical, but I love them so much. So I try to get books by wherever I am's author. So when we were in Bangkok, I got a book by a Thai author that had been translated into English so I could read it, because unfortunately I cannot read Thai characters, let alone read a book. So, and what was it? It was like the Labyrinth of the Earthworm.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the title. And it was so good. And, like, I would never be able to find a book, like that book in a bookstore in the U.S., whether it be, like, a Barnes & Noble's or, like, a privately owned bookstore. Like, I'd never be able to find anything by that author. I'd never be able to find that book. But when you go to some of these cities, if you're a big reader, you can find translations into your language, especially if you have, like, you know, like English, Spanish, German, like some of the, you know, the more spoken languages from the authors, and they're stories that are more local. Like they're not stories that, like, I've heard, right? So and it's a different viewpoint and it's a different voice, and, like, it's so, I'm getting chills because it was so good. I read it like 3 times, like back to back to back, and I loved it. And, like, I think, like, things like that you can find in the big malls, and they'll have them in big cities like Bangkok, and it's something that, like, we enjoy finding and, like, enjoying it.
We both love browsing a bookstore.
Yeah, but I liked that book. It was good. I still have it. Okay, so now we stay there. That's for shopping. So if you want to go shopping, great place to stay. Now, both of these areas are a lot more modern, and they're very connected to the metro and the BTS, which allows you to cover a lot of ground. So you can really get around the city, especially if you're looking to do shopping. Like, those areas are really nice to stay in. You're going to want to notify all your credit card companies that you're going to be there, because you're going to see so much good stuff, and you're like, yes, I'll deal with paying my credit card later.
Yeah. Then the next place to stay, I think, would be Ceylon, which is where we stayed there for Songkran.
For Songkran. So if you're going for Songkran, which is a New Year water festival, you can actually watch our vlog in Songkran if you want to see it. We bring you through, like, the whole festival. It's chef's kiss, one of the best festivals, like, ever. So much fun. And it's the biggest water fight in the world. And it's every April. It's after the 3rd full moon?
I think so.
Something like that. Yeah. It's, like, after the 3rd full moon. And it's a giant water festival. And it's so much fun. And, like, yes, Ceylon is where you want to stay if you are wanting to go.
If you want to be involved in that all the time. Because if you're staying in Ceylon, it's pretty much like the center of, it's one of the big hubs for this thing. So if you're looking to go and get out and do something that's not involved in the water fight, Ceylon might not be your best bet, because you are probably going to get soaked on your way to whatever you're doing.
1,000%. Yeah, we were there, and we got kind of upset one day because it was, like, the morning. Like, it was, like, 10 a.m. and we had a bunch of work we needed to get done. And the Wi-Fi because we stayed in, like, a very budget accommodation. And we were like, the Wi-Fi was just, like, not good. And we're like, we need to go to a cafe. There was no, like, common area. So there was, like, nowhere to, like, sit and do the work. And we were like, we don't want to sit in our bunk beds all day. Like, that's not what I want. Like, we were like, let's go out and, like, find a cafe. Like, there's lots of work cafes in Bangkok, which is something we look for when we're in cities. And
well, we were on our way to the work cafe, which wasn't that far from our accommodation, but we had our laptops, we had a bunch of electronics with us in our bags.
Hard drives with all our content on them.
Yeah, and then people were, like, spraying us with water, so we were
kind of upset because
a little upset.
Yeah, we were like, we really don't want to be sprayed right now. But
that was our mistake for staying there. But for the rest of the time we were there, we had a great time.
We loved it so much. And even that day, like, it didn't ruin our whole day. We just changed directions and walked in the other direction.
We got off to, like, the side streets and tried to avoid crowds so that someone wouldn't
spray us and, like, ruin anything that we had. But you know what? It's okay. We knew what we were doing, and we made the mistake. It was no one else's fault. But yeah, if you're looking to celebrate Songkran, that's where you want to go, is Ceylon. They also have Lumpini Park, which is, like, one of the biggest Is it the biggest park in Bangkok?
It might be the biggest park in Bangkok. It's very big.
It's beautiful,
and it's
too.
right down the street from Ceylon, which is really, really nice.
And it is super modern, and it is really connected. Where Ceylon falls a little short is that it has everything, but it doesn't have standout anything. If that makes sense. Yeah. So, like, they have nightlife, but it's not at the same level as like, you know, Kosan or, you know, one of the other places. They have street food, but it's not at the same level as, you know, some of the other areas. So they have, you know, culture, but it's, you know, well, obviously they have culture, but they have, when I meant like temples. Like they have temples, but they don't have all the temples that like the old city have.
No.
So that's why it's kind of like this in between, but I wouldn't mark it out.
No.
I really liked it for what it was. And you definitely there's a lot of people that are actually like living their lives in that area. So you're not just like surrounded by tourists, which is something that we
It's definitely not a tourist.
It's not made for tourists.
No,
like the area is not made for tourists.
It's a neighborhood.
It's a neighborhood.
It's a lived in area of the city.
We had the best food there. We went to like, okay, so we were looking for food the night that we went working. We didn't go working in the night. We were working that day, and then after we were done working.
Got to pay the rent somehow.
We're traveling somehow. Yeah, but that night we were looking for food, and we were like, oh, we're looking, and we found this restaurant, and we were like, we should go to this. So we go to the restaurant. The restaurant is so packed, which we knew it was going to be. You have to order before you even get inside, and it was like a famous Chinese food restaurant. And we didn't know, but it was like a pinnacle in the gay community in Bangkok, which is vibrant and like everywhere. So we didn't know. We get in there, we immediately make all the friends. Everyone's lovely. Like there was a mixture of Thai, there was some Chinese people, there was some other tourists, there was everyone, and everyone was having a good time, and you eat like family style.
Yeah.
And it's like on these like long like
benches.
Tables. Yeah, these long tables. So cafeteria style, like a cafeteria style. And you order before you even go in. So you're looking at the menu out in the street. Then you tell them what you want. Then they sit you. Then the food starts coming out and everyone's there. So like, I'm pretty sure like the person next to you was like trying to get you to like try something that they had. Ryan was making all the friends.
I was making all the friends. Yeah, and there was a line outside.
It was so good.
So you had to wait to order before you could go in. It was so, and it was worth it.
So even though Salam isn't, you know, really stand out for anything, you can still have a very good experience there. So if you find an accommodation that fits like your criteria and it's in that area, go stay there. Yeah. Even if it's not Songkran, but if it is Songkran, I mean, be prepared. I say you stay. And it's well connected, so you're going to be able to get onto...
Yeah, I think above Selam Road, the SkyTrain runs right above it.
Right above it. So you're going to be able to, again, like connect to all the different parts in the city. You're going to be able to see the temples. You're going to be able to get to the canals. You're going to be able to get all over the place, which is good to do, especially if you only have a few days to do there. Now, the last area, which is my favorite, Chinatown. Yeah. Now, Chinatown is older. So the buildings are going to be older. Yeah. Most of the people there do not speak English. No. It's chaotic. It's going to be busy and loud all the time. You can take those as cons. I take those as pros. You know, it just depends, like what you're looking for. Like I like to stay in old buildings. I like to get a more like an authentic, like I don't want everyone just speaking English to me. Like I'll find my way. Like I'm in your home. You don't need to accommodate for me. Like it's on me. I came here. Like I'll figure it out. Like don't worry about me.
And neither one of us is looking for like 5-star resort hotels and things like that.
No, but in Chinatown you can find some.
I'm sure you can.
You can absolutely find some like luxurious spots. We just don't stay there. We're more of the budget spots, which also can be fantastic. But yeah, I love Chinatown. It's bustling. The food is incredible. Like in my opinion, the best food you're going to get in Bangkok is going to be in and around Chinatown. Yeah, that might be fighting words. That might be fighting words.
But the thing is, there's just so much choice there. Like everything. So much. There's restaurants everywhere. There's stalls everywhere.
The crab soup.
The crab soup. Odeon.
Odeon was so good.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And they have like Michelin Star, like
we got like Michelin Star street food there. Yeah. Like very affordable, like $1 a bowl of Michelin Star. And I love like Chinese herbal medicine. There's a bunch of like Chinese herbal medicine shops. To be quite honest, I find them quite overwhelming because I don't really know anything about Chinese herbal medicine, but I find it interesting.
Right.
So a lot of their desserts and their foods in Eastern culture in general is with like the benefits, like the health benefits. So I know we had a really good like Chinese soupy tea dessert. And it was these like doughy balls filled with black sesame, which if you get the chance to try black sesame, please try because it's one of my favorite like flavored things. Like if I'm somewhere and they have black sesame, that's the one I'm ordering. It's so good.
Yeah. I forget the name of it, but they're gelatinous rice balls, and then it has a filling, and then it's in like a syrup. So we had it in a ginger syrup.
No, it was like a tea. It was like a sweetened tea. So it wasn't like just like a syrup. Like I think the broth itself it was hot. Yeah. Which was interesting. And it was like a really strong ginger tea. And it was so good. And it was so different from like any dessert that's even an option.
For us.
For like the Western world or the Western palate. There's nothing that came
close to it.
No, and like I loved it.
Mm-hmm. It was like, really good.
And then I've tried to find it like online, but I don't know what it's called, and I can't.
I do know what it's called, but I can't remember it. But it's mentioned in our vlog for Chinatown that came out like a couple weeks ago, and it's actually a Chinese. It came from China.
I know it's Chinese. Yeah. We were in Chinatown.
I know.
And it was so good. But like anything black sesame in general, I would really try it. It's not such a strange flavor. So it's a very similar to almost like a more savory almond butter.
Yes.
It's a very similar texture to like an almond butter or a peanut butter. So like it's like a nut. It's very nut butter-esque. So if you like nut butters and like you see a black sesame, go ahead and try it. It's not going to be completely out of your like wheelhouse of flavors and texture, but it's going to be slightly different and it's just a little adventurous.
Yes, but it's very, very delicious.
But it's so good. All right, those are all the different areas. There's more areas to stay in Bangkok, might I add. But those are some of the big ones that the tourists stay in, or those are some of the ones that we've stayed in individually and together that we would
recommend,
yeah. What are some things that if someone's planning their trip to Bangkok right now, or maybe they've like just arrived and they're listening to our podcast, like they have it downloaded and they're on like the bus or in the taxi, like on the way to their accommodation, or like at the airport ready and they're like going. What are some things that you think in Bangkok like they shouldn't miss if they only have like maybe like 3 or 4 days there?
I think you definitely want to see at least some of the temples. There's so many temples in Bangkok, you could spend weeks traveling to all of them.
Yeah.
And you just don't have the time, but you could pick like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think some of the best ones are in Chinatown, because I think you shouldn't miss Chinatown. I think you should go to Chinatown for the day. The Golden Buddha.
The Golden Buddha, that's
really cool. The
Golden
Buddha is really cool. Also in Chinatown, there's like, we didn't go to it, but there's a crocodile temple. Yeah, and they like keep live crocodiles there. We didn't go there. We were already, sometimes you get templed out, and it's okay to admit. We went to so many temples. I was just like, we were both just like done and tired with them. But they have a crocodile temple in Chinatown as well. So if you go to Chinatown for the day, which I think you should, Golden Buddha and Chinatown.
And then across the river from that is Wat Arun, which is one of the most beautiful temples I've ever seen in my life.
That was
it's
really
really special. And then just up the river in Old Town is Wat Pho, which is the reclining Buddha. Which is really, really cool also.
And then Golden Mountain.
And Golden Mountain Temple is really nice. You get a good bird's eye view of
the whole city. And the walk from the public transit there, because you have to walk a little bit, is really cool because it goes through like the carpentry.
Yeah, there's a carpenter's like street with all the different like doors and like all these intricate woodwork there, and then also you walk through a little food market on the way to the river.
You also get a beverage with your admission.
That's right.
Because you have to like pay admission to that one. Some of them are free to go into, some of them you have to pay to go into. But you always have to have just a rule of thumb, always have to have your shoulders, whether you're a man or a woman, and your knees covered.
Right.
Whether you're a man or a woman.
So long pants and shoulders
covered. That's why you see everyone with the elephant pants.
Yeah.
Because you have to have your knees covered and you have to have your shoulders covered.
And it's hot, so those are nice flowy pants.
So nice flowy things.
Cool.
Yeah, so I would say go to some of the temples. Those are some of like the notable ones that we really enjoy.
Right.
Of course there are more, but those are like the big tourist ones too.
I think they're the staples that like most people like hit when they go.
Yeah. And then I'd also recommend you have to try the street food. You can't go to Bangkok and not try the street food. You know what's crazy? The first time I ever was going to Asia, I was obviously flying into Bangkok. We talked about that like 2 minutes ago. And you know how many people full on looked at me and goes, you can't eat the street food, you're going to get so sick. You can't eat the street food, you're going to get so sick.
Then we went and we survived solely on street food for 6 months.
Yeah, but no, this is not the time we went. This is the time I went by myself.
Oh.
I showed up there and the first thing I did was eat street food. And guess what I didn't do? Get sick. I'm still here to tell the tale. Please go eat the street food. Don't let people go and scare you off of it.
No.
Just use your brain. If there's a long line, it's probably good.
And that means the food is moving.
And it means the food's moving. So
Yeah.
go for it. They also have heard, don't eat the cut fruit. I eat all of the cut fruit. Every bit of cut fruit. And it's delicious.
Yeah.
Just, it's people worry. Don't let them discourage you. Eat the street foods. 7-Eleven Toasty, Ryan.
Oh, my favorite. My favorite.
I've tried to recreate 7-Eleven Toasties for him because he loves them so.
I would be sleeping in bed in our accommodation. There was a 7-Eleven across the road, and I'd get up at 2 a.m. to go across the road to 7-Eleven to get myself a Toasty. I loved it so much. She'd be still sleeping, and I'd be like, yeah, I got up and got a Toasty in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I was feeling it. Yeah.
That's why so many people, and like a lot of Thai people have been watching our videos, and we love you guys. We love you guys so much. And multiple people have been like, be careful, be careful, I'll sneak up on you. And we're like, yeah. I wonder why, because Ryan's waking up in the middle of the night and eating his midnight 1 a.m. toast.
They're so good.
And there's a 7-Eleven on every corner. So it's really fun, especially if you're American. I mean, in my opinion, especially if you're American and you've grown up with 7-Elevens.
Yes.
Because like being from New Jersey, like we have 7-Elevens quite literally like everywhere.
Right.
So like I grew up like stopping at 7-Elevens and like getting, snacks from 7-Eleven. And then you go to Thailand and you're like, I can never go back to an American 7-Eleven.
I haven't been in one since. I
Since
haven't
we
been
were in Japan,
American.
we didn't go back.
The Thai and the Japanese 7-Elevens are second to none.
We can't
They
go
just
back.
put all American 7-Elevens to shame.
Every time we pass a 7-Eleven too, I feel like we both just,
We get a
we're like,
pa-
oh.
It's like a little pang of disappointment.
It's like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And it's just disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, that's right.
And then go out on the river or the canals.
yeah, the
Just take a
canals are
boat
good.
ride in Bangkok. It's really, really cool. And then obviously, if it's not for everyone, but the nightlife is spectacular in Bangkok. So
And you don't have to go like absolutely buck wild. Like you can just go out and people go out to Koh Sam Road, get yourself a beer or even just like a coconut or like,
yeah,
tasty
even if you don't drink,
sips.
you could just be there and get some of the atmosphere
And just
of
people watch.
the craziness that's going on. Yeah,
just people watch it. It's okay. You don't have to partake in it.
Koh San Road is
do it.
basically a huge market street too. In all hours of the night, like they're selling like little trinkets and clothes and like the elephant pants and
all the stuff.
all the things. There's souvenirs there. Yeah, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be surrounding alcohol.
Yeah,
you know?
so you do it the way that is best for you, but you should go and see it because it's a shame to be like, oh yeah, I was there and I didn't see it because it is famous. So go see it. All right, Ryan, what was your favorite thing that we did in Bangkok? I know that's so hard.
Besides the toasties.
If that's it,
No.
don't lie. If that's it, that's it.
No, I think my favorite thing. Oh, this is hard. My favorite thing. I can't lie. It was Songkran.
Songkran's so
It was
good.
Songkran. Like it was so much fun. I went feral.
He did go feral. Like so feral. Like fully feral.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know who this man is.
Yeah.
I don't know what is taking
It unlocked
over him.
something in me, and it's better that that's suppressed for the rest of the
It like unlocked his like feral teenager.
Yeah.
And like his child, just like his inner child, just like fully came out, and he was like, water guns, yeah, I'm ready for a water fight.
Yeah.
I'm squirting you, and I'm squirting you, and I'm squirting you.
Yeah.
And where's the cold water? Because some of these people, because you have to fill up your water, right? Because you have like these water shooters, and you need to like refill them. And some of these places to refill them, they charge you like 5-10 baht to refill.
Yeah.
And they'll have giant ice cubes in
a
the
block
refill.
of ice this big.
And that's Ryan went around. He's like, I have to find the cold water.
I didn't want any room temperature water. I wanted the ice because people got me with the ice water. I needed the ice water.
Yeah, well, we found it, and then he unloaded a good amount of it on me. So.
What was your favorite thing in Bangkok?
It's so hard. I enjoy a lot of the different aspects of Bangkok. I really I always felt like I wasn't a city traveler, and I'm always like, oh, I'm not a city girl. And then I get to Bangkok, and I'm like, they have everything. Mm-hmm. So like if I want to wander through like a little market or down a little street, like all of a sudden I don't feel like I'm in a city anymore.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite bit of Bangkok is just wandering in the streets, as funny as that sounds, or like especially early in the morning. So I am sometimes a runner, and one of my favorite things to do in Bangkok is to get up super early in the morning at like 6 a.m. Ryan's just finishing his morning toasties and have just gone back to bed. Mm-hmm. I like to get up and like either walk or take a little jog around like the neighborhood and like watch it wake up. And Bangkok just has the like smells in the morning, like good things, like everyone, like the food stalls are starting to come together, the street markets are coming together, like everyone's waking up in the morning. So the Thai tea, you can like smell like the Thai tea brewing and like the coffees and like everything's starting to move for the day, but the roads are still empty.
Yeah, and it's not too hot yet.
Like I love those like waking moments of Bangkok. And I think it's something special. And I like to do it in every city I go to, but there's an energy of Bangkok that is bug. That is Bangkok.
Yeah, it's definitely infectious, that's for sure.
Do you have any advice for someone who's like going to Bangkok for the first time?
Yes. Okay. Well, this is especially for someone like me because I get sunburned very, very easily. So I would say make sure you bring sun cream with you, and make sure you bring either like a refillable water bottle or stop in at 7-Elevens more often than you think, because you are going to get dehydrated if you're out running between temples and out on like trying to catch buses and ferries and all of these things. You get a lot of dehydration very quickly.
Pocari Sweats.
They're
going to be your friend. It's like a hydration drink.
It's an electrolyte like drink, and it's got a terrible name, Pocari Sweat, but they're delicious. I love them. I miss them.
Yeah. So I would recommend making sure you stay hydrated. Drink lots and lots of water. Stop in lots and lots of 7-Elevens and like make sure you're...
Yeah, and then the other thing I would say is do not be afraid to like just get immersed in it. Yeah. You know, it's a huge city. There's so much going on. Don't like be careful, obviously, but like also like be open to all the opportunities that are there, and just immerse yourself in the craziness and the hustle and the bustle and everything.
Yeah. So you would say pack sun cream, stay hydrated, and have an open mind.
Yes.
This is great. That's great advice. I would say some of those are overlapping to what I had, and I think pack light, flowy clothing. You don't need like a whole backpack full of it, but you're going to need like pants and long sleeves more than you think. But like I always travel with this. This is like I thrifted this. It's a silk button down, but it works really well. It's light, it's airy, it's breathy. I wear it when it's cold. I wear it when it's hot. Yeah. So like a silk or a linen flowy button up, I think is like really key to pack, as well as like some flowy like linen or silky or like something pants. Right. The elephant pants are great, but you're gonna see like every tourist wearing them, so they're kind of a little played out. I have gotten pairs from, where have we gotten some? American Eagle, we've had some H&M, we've gotten them from. Cotton On has some really nice ones.
Got some custom made in Vietnam and they fell apart.
We did do that as well. So yeah, I recommend like some linen or some silky pants that are super flowy. You're going to need them. They may end up being like your most worn item of clothing. And the same for like a silk or a linen like button up, and this goes for like dudes and women. Like that's you should everyone should pack that. It ends up being worn all the time. You can wear it in the temples. It's nice when it's hot out. It's nice when it's a little bit colder. You can layer things with it. Key. What else would I say? I've already said eat all the food. Try all the food. Like just do it. Ooh, this is my last one. It's really good. Don't overplan yourself.
Oh, that's a good one.
Don't overplan, right? Especially as someone like who's a solo traveler or traveling with like just one other person, right? A lot of times we tend to get really excited and we're like, okay, we're going to do like this. And now you have like all these plans, right? And either things take you longer than you expect them to. So then now you don't like get to everything and you like, you ended up going all around to things that maybe you didn't really want to see, but they were on your list, so you felt like you had to see them.
Yeah.
But also don't overplan because you want to leave space for opportunities. Because you're going to go and especially if you're staying in like shared accommodations, right? So especially if you're staying in a hostel, whether you have a private room or you're in a dorm, it doesn't really matter. A lot of times people are there to make friends and they're just social and like you might make a friend and they're going, oh, we're going here tonight. You don't want to have yourself so packed down that you don't have room for authentic or like new experiences,
things that you might not have thought of doing or anything like that.
And that even goes from like when you're leaving the city, right?
Yeah.
So like you don't want to have every bus pre-booked, every plane plane pre-booked, every thing you're going to do in your whole trip pre-booked.
Yeah, you don't need your entire itinerary thought out minute for minute for minute.
You don't need it.
That's overkill.
You don't need it. Leave space to just organically
experience
things.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah. Do you have any other advice?
I think
that's it. Have so much fun on your trip in Bangkok. And we have so many vlogs and different resources for you guys. If you're going to Bangkok and you want some of those, go back to our vlog channel and you can watch all of them. And if you want more from us, you can find us at Rangeless_ on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts, and of course, YouTube. Until next week.
Bye.
Bye.